mu isezerano rya kera abatambyi n'abahanuzi babanaga n'abantu.
In the Old Testament, priests and prophets lived with kings.
Ese ubu ngubu bite?
So what is going on now?
Kera
A long time,
Imana yatoranyije ubwoko bw'Abisirayeli
God chose the people of Israel
kugira ngo badakora amakosa, kuko Yesu yagomba kuvukiramo. Yashizeho abapolisi benshi, ishiraho abahanuzi, abigisha amategeko, abakora iki, kuko Yesu yagombaga kuvukira muri buriya bwoko.
He put prophets, he put teachers of the law in the Israelites so that they may live a righteous life, since Christ would originate or be born among them.
En fait, niki cyarimo kugira ngo Imana yibumbarike kuri Isirayeli niba ngombwa ibakubite kurusha andi moko, nuko yari mirinda imbuto izavukira muri Yesu.
In other words, God was protecting jealously the tribe of Israel because among them would come the seed which would be Jesus Christ.
Ariko andi mahanga
But other nations
yari mu buyobe,
had lost direction.
bari mu byabo,
They were doing their own things.
basenga izindi mana.
They prayed other gods.
Isirayeli yari ishinzwe kubigisha,
Israel that was in charge of teaching them,
ahubwo ifata imico yabo,
but they took on their customs.
bituma Imana ibohereza
And
mu
God
Babyloni,
had to send them into captivity in Babylon
kugeza igihe nanone Imana yabagaruye,
until God returned them,
kugeza Yesu avutse.
until Jesus was born.
Abahanuzi n'abami
Prophets and kings
n'abatambyi
and prophets and priests,
bagerageje kubabwira,
they tried to rebuke
ariko
them,
ntibyatumye bumva.
but they never listened.
Ba Yeremiya bararize,
Jeremiah warned them,
ariko ntibumvishe.
but they didn't listen.
Nubwo bari bahari,
Even if they were there,
byaragoranye.
it was hard.
Gusa
However,
hari amategeko y'Imana.
there were the laws of God there.
Yesu aje rero,
When Jesus came,
aza kurestora, Yesu aza guhembura ministeri y'ubwami n'ubutambyi.
he came to restore the ministry of priesthood and kingship.
Ariko asanga hari imikorere yindi.
But there was another system at work.
Aravuga ngo ubwami bwanjye si ubw'isi.
He said that my kingdom is not of this world.
Abwira abayuda,
He told the Jews,
abigishwa bari bamukurikiye,
the teachers or the disciples that followed him,
abashaka kurwanya ubwami bw'Abaroma,
those who were fighting against the Roman kingdom.
abigisha ijambo rituma babasha guhangana n'ubwami bw'Abaroma kandi batarwanya.
He taught them a wise word of how they can fight the Roman kingdom without necessarily fighting physically.
Niryo rya jambo ryo muri Matayo 5 ngo hahirwa hahirwa hahirwa, yari amahame yo kugira ngo babashe guhangana n'ubwami bw'Abaroma ariko batavushije amaraso kandi batarwanya.
He taught them the teaching in Matthew 5 which says, blessed are you, which was a system or a teaching that would help them fight against the Romans without being physically fighting them.
Bazita beatitude.
They call them the teaching of the Beatitudes.
Attitude mugomba kugira ngo mubane n'abantu.
In other words, the attitude you need to have to live with people.
Nimugira iyo attitude,
So when you have that attitude,
umuntu nagukubita,
when someone beats you,
wewe umanura amaboko,
just put your hands down.
ntari bugukubite kabiri.
They won't beat you again.
Umuntu nakwambura ikoti ku ngufu,
When they take your cloak by force,
mubwira tereka nguhe ni ishati.
you tell them, I want to give you my shirt as
Icyo gihe
well.
uzamumara ingufu.
You make them humble.
Ariko Abaroma babategetse,
But these Romans ruling over them,
nagukora ku ikoti ryawe ukarwana nawe arakwica, afite imbunda, arashigikiwe na Kayisari, muri abayuda muri bake minoritaire ku isi. Muzakurikira inyigisho nigisho kuri minority mindset. Nibyo navugaga, inyigisho z'abantu bincike bakeya uko bagomba kubaho mu bantu babanga.
so we find that when they will take your cloak, you don't hit them back because they are supported. They have weapons. They are the authority, like Caesar was on their side. So you need to follow my teaching about minority mindset, and this
Yes.
shows you about the few people that have a wise way of thinking.
Rero Yesu arababwira ngo
So Jesus told
icyo
them,
mbasaba
what I request
ni mubu munyu,
be
salt.
the salt.
Umunyu ni muke,
Salt is little,
ariko wuzura inkono.
but it fills the entire pot.
Aba baroma ni benshi nk'inkono barakomeye,
These Romans are many, they are great.
ariko muke bugufi mubaseseremo,
But be humble and just infiltrate them.
mubinjiremo.
Infiltrate them.
Ikindi muba umucyo.
Also be the light.
Umwijima ni mwinshi,
There is a lot of darkness,
ariko akabuji gato
but one little candle,
iyo kahageze umwijima
when
uri.
it arrives in the place, the darkness flees.
Yarimo avuga kuri attitude, imyifatire yawe.
He was talking about their conduct and their attitude.
Aravuga ngo nimumva aya magambo
He
mbabwira,
says, if you listen to the word I tell you,
muzamera nk'uwubatse inzu ku rutare.
you will be like one building his house on the rock.
Yarimo akora conclusion mu gice cya 7 kuri 24.
He was concluding in chapter 7 of Matthew 23.
ngo nimuyumva
If you hear
ariko mukabita,
and you leave it here,
murasa n'ubatse inzu ku musenyi, imivu yaratembye, imvura iragwa, umuyaga ngo kugwa kwayo kwabaye kunini. Yarimo avuga ibizaba mu mwaka wa 70 ubwo Nero Tito azaza agasenya hariya hose kuko batumvishe kugwa kwa Yerusalemu kwabaye kunini. Nibyo Yesu yavuga.
Jesus was also talking about if they don't build on, when they build on the sand as a foundation, that this flood will come and wash it away. He was talking about in the 70s when Titus would come and destroy Jerusalem, which was greatly destroyed at that
Kandi kugwa
time.
kwayo kwabaye kunini.
And its fall was great.
Byafashe imyaka 2000.
It took 2,000 years.
Ejo bundi
Recently,
muri 48
in 48,
ngo abayuda bongere kugira igihugu,
for the Jews to get their independence and become
kuko
a
kugwa
nation,
kwabo kwabaye kunini.
because their fall had been great.
Yesu rero icyo dusaba
So what does Jesus require of us?
suko duhinduka tugira ngo tubwira abaperezida, tubabami, tubabatambyi babo. Oya,
It's not that we go and become priests to the presidents. No,
yabivuze.
he said it.
Nuko abakristo twigisha
Is that the Christians we teach,
baba abakristo ku wa mbere,
they become Christians on Monday,
ku wa kabiri,
on Tuesday,
ku wa gatatu,
on Wednesday,
Kuwa kane,
on Thursday,
kuwa
on
gatanu,
Friday,
ku wa gatandatu.
on Saturday.
Ku cyumweru baza
And
aha
when they come on Sunday,
bakaza celebration,
they need to celebrate God,
batanga ubuhamya.
to prophesy, to testify.
Ariko ubukristo
But a true Christian,
mu kazi ku wa mbere,
in their jobs on
mu rukiko
Monday,
ku wa kabiri,
when they're in court on
mu
Tuesday,
murima ku wa
when
gatatu,
they're in their fields on
mu isoko ku wa
Wednesday,
kane.
in the market on
Nibyo
Thursday.
Yesu avuga ngo mube umunyu rero.
That is why Jesus was saying, be the
Ubwo-
salt.
kuko uburyo bwo kwegera abami bakabahanurira bitashobotse,
Because it was not easy to prophesy to the kings.
none duhinduka ubumara umunyu muri bo.
Now let's become the salt among them.
Nibyo Yesu yavuga.
That's what Jesus was saying.
Kuko niyo misozi 7
Those
tuvuga,
are really the 7 spheres or mountains we
kuko
speak
twinjiraho
about.
hose
We infiltrate them.
kandi tukabana nabo turi abami n'abatambyi.
And we live with them as priests and kings.
Kuko numubwira ngo ndi umwami arakwica. Yesu yabajije Pilato n'abandi ngo uri umwami ariceceka, agakomeje ngo wabivuze, ariko ntiyashaka kubigaragaza kuko ni umwami. Pilato yabyemera, abatambyi batabyemera. Ni umwami w'abami. Yesu ashimwe cyane.
Amen. You do not become a priest and a king, because then you get in trouble with the authority. But Jesus, when he was asked by Pilate, he said, are you a king? He was silent.
Ubwongereza bwarabigerageje.
The people in England tried it.
I Roma bari bafite katolike.
They had the Roman Catholic in Rome.
Ubwongereza buravuga ngo ariko
And then in England they said,
ko dukomeye,
we are also great.
turakomeza tuje i Roma abantu b'abagabo,
Are we continuing to go to Rome?
dushireho idini ryacu Anglika.
Let's put the Anglican Church in place.
Umwamikazi cyangwa umwami
The queen or the king,
abe na bishop wa Anglika.
there will also be the archbishop of the Anglican
Igihugu
Church.
cyose,
The entire nation.
igihugu cyose
The entire nation.
cyinjire mu mwuka.
Let them be spiritual.
Haje kuvuka abagabo
Now men arose.
bitwa nka ba George Kiyolo,
They are called George Kiol.
b'abagnostique batemera, batangira kwandika, nibo bazanye ubwa mbere terme yitwa seculaire. Idini mukomeza kuri twinjizamo, barandika.
They are the ones who brought the secular theory where they said we don't have to take on the spiritual things as a nation. We do not want it. So they brought secularism.
Abanyamerika barijyana muri Amerika,
So the Americans took it to America.
batereka twubake Amerika ku mategeko y'Imana.
And they said, let's build America on the laws of God.
Biraba
It happened.
ikinyejana cya 20 kigeze,
In the 20th century,
baravuga ngo reka dutandukanye leta n'idini
they say
tugire
let's
amahoro.
separate the government and religion.
Bita ngo ni Rhode Island
The state of Rhode Island
niyo yabaye iya mbere kuvuga ngo twe turi abapagani,
was the first to declare
Secular.
that they were secular.
turanze
We do not
ibintu byo
want
kutujyana ku gahato gusenga, turi abapagani.
forcing us into religion. No, we are
Kubera iki?
secular. Why?
Abantu babaye mu idini kuko yabivuze Antoine ntibaba muri Kristo.
People who have been in religion find it hard to be Christians.
Umukristo ni
Who is a Christian?
mabwe
Their lifestyle,
imitekerereze
their
ye,
mindset,
imikorere ye
their work
birakijijwe
are Christian. They are saved,
kugeza no ku nzozi arota,
including the dreams they have.
arota inzozi zikijijwe
They dream Christian-like dreams.
na radiyo ye
Even his radio,
mu modoka.
in the car.
Radiyo ye yanga gufata n'andi ma FM, ifata ya yindi ikijijwe.
You only-
Uwo ni umutantike.
An authentic Christian, his radio will always be focused on the religious radio stations, not any other.
Paul nibyo yavuze.
That's what Paul said.
Turabizi ko bahari.
We know
Abapari.
they are there,
Twe tubasengera.
but let's pray for them.
Ntimuzareke gusengera abana,
Don't stop to pray for the kings.
musengera abaperezida.
Pray for the
Uzi igihe
presidents.
yabivugaga
You know when he said this?
arimo atotezwa ku gihe cya Nero.
When he was in the time of Nero, greatly tried.
Ngo ndabinginga
He was being persecuted and he said, I beseech you.
ngo kandi ibi ni ibishimwa n'Imana
And God finds pleasure in this,
ngo musengera abadutegetse.
that you pray for the authority.
Ariko
Prison
icyo
at
gihe
that
yandikiye
time.
Timoteyo,
That's when he wrote to Timothy.
nge nageze i Roma muri prison Paul yari afungiwemo.
I've reached Rome where Paul was imprisoned.
Ni akazu kari iruhande rw'ivatika.
It is a small house near the
Kabi
Vatican.
cyane.
Very ugly.
Aho niho yanditse
That is when he wrote.
ngo musengera
He
abantu
said, pray for the
Musengera
authorities.
abadutegeka.
Pray for your leaders.
kugira ngo amahoro yabo niyo
So
mahoro
that
yacu.
their peace will be your peace.
Batari kugitangaje
But what's amazing,
bataba mfunganywe nabo bamfunganye
these ones that I'm bound with in
ngo
prison,
barakijijwe kugeza no kubarinda Kayisari.
they are all saved, including the guards of Caesar.
Abaroma bagiraga amasaha ane yo gukurana.
Romans had 4 hours
Watches.
to watch or rotate.
Bazanaga umusirikare akabana na Paul amasaha ane
They will bring a guard or a soldier to be with
kandi mu
Paul for 4
basirikare
hours.
barinda Kayisari.
And there would be the same presidential guard or the ones that
Basubiragayo
guarded
bakijijwe.
Caesar. After that, they would
Abandi
return
bagakizwa.
when they are saved.
Yandikira abafilipi arimo ababwira ngo mukomere izo ntambara murimo ngo ngewe nubwo mfu ngo cyane cyane ngo abarinda Kayisari, abarinda
So
umwami.
he wrote to the Philippians at that time and said, you be strengthened and continue to preach the gospel, because the gospel has not stopped to be spread. Especially,
Nituba beza
he was preaching to the guards. If we are good
tukagira indangagaciro
and we
nziza,
have good values,
abapagani bazatugirira confiance.
pagans will trust us.
Igisambo iyo kimaze kwiba
When a thief has stolen,
kiza gishakisha inyangamugayo ngo kimubikishe.
they find a trustworthy person to give them what they stole.
Igisambo
A thief.
nacyo kibaza ngo muri uyu mudugudu nta mugabo w'imfura ubamo.
Is
Chiefs
there someone trustworthy in this village to keep what I stole?
nito abakristo
So if we are true
Aba
Christians,
authentic.
authentic
aba
Christians,
bazadushaka
these people out there will come to seek
kuko
for us.
bafite amabanga menshi barashaka aboye bayabwira.
They have a lot of secrets and they want trustworthy people.
Hasigara hahanganye abagabo babiri ba
So
bishop.
2 men were contesting against each other.
Bishop wo muri Turkey
The bishop from Turkey
na bishop w'i Roma.
and the bishop from Rome.
Aho niho haje kuva ba pape
That's where we get the popes.
kuko ubu Roma yari ikomeye.
They were great.
Na hariya Constantinople, Constantine niwe wemeye ko ubukristo bwemerwa ku isi yose mu Burayi.
And Constantinople, he's the one who allowed that Christians may spread in Europe.
Icyabaye ni ikibananirwa kumvikana,
They could not agree.
haba icyo muri theology bita ngo ni schisme, gucikamo kabiri kwa gikristo.
There was what they called schism, which means the division of the Christianity.
Abakurikiye abo muri Constantine bose bitwa ba Orthodox, abakurikiye i Roma bitwa abagatulika, kiliziya.
Those who followed Constantinople are called Orthodox, and those who followed Rome are Catholics.
Kuva icyo gihe rero
From that time,
itorero ryatakaje ministere eshanu.
the church lost the 5-fold ministry.
Ntihabaye intumwa,
There were no
Yabaye imwe.
apostles. It was just one apostle.
abapasiteri nibo bapadiri,
Pastors were now priests,
izindi ministeri zirabura.
and all the other ministries disappeared.
Martin Luther aje
Martin Luther, when he came,
mu mwaka w'igihumbi magana atanu cumi na gatandatu,
in the year 1516,
nawe yiyonkora kuri katolika,
so he became part of the Catholics.
ariko nawe ntiyafata za nkingi ko ari eshanu,
But he did not take the fivefold ministry again.
hakaba gusa pasiteri mu rusengero.
There would just be a pastor in the church.
Pasiteri akagira abakristo benshi adashobora kurera.
The pastor would have many Christians they cannot take care of.
Intumwa ikora iki?
What does an apostle do?
Apotre
An apostle,
aragavaninga, agategeka, agashyiraho inzira abantu bagendera.
he governs and puts in place the guidelines which the Christians need to live.
Profeta agira ati,
What does a prophet do?
profeta akangurira imitima y'abantu kongera gukunda Imana.
He awakens the hearts of men to love God.
Umuvugabutumwa akora iki?
What does an evangelist
Afata
do?
abari hanze mu isi akabazana mu nzu
He
y'Imana.
takes the people from the world and brings them in the house of God.
Pasiteri agakora iki?
What does the pastor do?
Pasiteri akita ku bantu, he cares.
He cares for the brethren of the
Umwigisha
flock.
agakora iki?
What does the teacher do?
Akabagorora kugira ngo bakurikire inzira z'Imana.
He aligns with the ways of the Lord. He aligns them with the
Hasigaye
ways
rero
of the
iki?
Lord. Now what was left behind?
Amatorero yose kuva igihe cya reforme mu mwaka mu kinyejana cya 16,
All the churches from the time of Reformation in the
Kugeza ejo
16th
bundi.
century until now,
itorero ryari rihagaze ku ishiga ry'umuntu umwe witwa pasiteri.
the church is standing on only one pillar, the power of a pastor.
Niyo mpamvu habaye amakosa menshi mu itorero.
That is why there are many problems and issues in the church.
Ubu n'inkono ishya iri ku mashiga 3,
Normally, when you're cooking, the cooking pot needs 3 pillars.
ariko iyo ari ishiga rimwe
But when it's only one pillar,
tishobora guhagarara.
it will not stand.
Pasiteri rero araremererwa,
So the pastor is burdened.
agakora ibikorwa by'intumwa,
They do the works of the
agakora
apostle,
ibikorwa by'ubuhanuzi,
the work of prophecy,
agakora ibikorwa
the
by'abavugabutumwa,
work of evangelists.
agakora ibikorwa byo kurera,
They do the works of
agakora
caring for
ibikorwa byo
people
kwigisha.
and the work of teachers.
noneho hagati mu bantu
So amidst the people,
impano zikabyuka,
the gifts will arise.
hagahaguruka umuhanuzi atari pasiteri,
A prophet will come and they're not a pastor.
yarangiza
After
abantu
that,
bakamukurikira,
people follow. So lose his authority.
yatakaza autorite,
When he loses his authority,
nawe agasigara ajya noneho ku muhanuzi ngo agakopera n'umuhanuzi ngo ngawe ga nanjye ndebera,
so he would go to the prophet and say, please help me. What is God saying?
kuko batubatse structure yabo.
Because there is no clear structure.
Ugasanga abakristo benshi baja mu byumba ariko ntibaje mu rusengero,
You find many Christians going to prayer rooms to meet the prophets, not coming to the church.
kuko nta office y'umuhanuzi ihari.
Because there's no office of the prophet in the church.
haza umuntu wigisha neza,
When a good teacher comes,
bose ukuvuga ngo bagiye Kimironko ngo arimo arigisha we, bose bakajyayo ku cyumweru, waza ukabura abakristo.
they all follow and go for that conference because there is a great teacher who has come. On Sunday, there's nobody in the church.
Ibi rero turimo tugaba
So what we tell you,
kuva mu mwaka wa 80,
from the 80s,
Imana yatangiye kubyutsa umurimo w'abahanuzi.
God arose or awakened the work of the prophets.
Hari nk'abagabo bitwa ba Bill Hammond
We know men like Bill Hammond,
batangiye kumva ko igihe cy'abahanuzi kije, ba Cindy Jacob
Cindy Jacob. Those felt like the time of the prophets has come.
n'ahandi batanditse ibitabo muri Afurika, abasaza dufite n'abandi batangiye guhanura, biro office itangira kuza y'abahanuzi.
And many in Africa, even if it's not written somewhere, the office of the prophecy was awakened.
Ariko ntabwo byari byuzuye neza.
It was not complete,
Mu myaka
however.
ya za 90
In the 90s,
hatangira kuza rero muvema y'abapotre,
there came a movement, the apostolic movement,
itorero riba ritangiye kujya ku murongo
and the church was starting to be
kugira ngo
aligned.
itorero Antiyokiya rikomere,
For the church of Antioch to be great,
nako ry'Uburaya,
of Europe to be
Paul
great,
yajyanye na Sila,
Paul had to go with Cyrus.
ibundi ntumwa n'umuhanuzi baragenda.
Normally, the apostle and the prophet should go together.
Sila
So Cyrus
yari umuhanuzi w'i Yerusalemu,
was the prophet of Jerusalem.
Paul
Paul
yari intumwa y'amahanga,
was an apostle to the
niwe
nations.
bajyanaga muri izo ngero.
They walked together.
Ni ukuvuga ngo Imana rero yatangiye kubyutsa umurimo w'intumwa n'abahanuzi.
So God started to awaken the work of a prophet and an
Rwa rufatiro
apostle.
rugiye kuzaho.
So the foundation is coming in place,
Ibyo biraza kuzana rero n'abigisha ko baza n'abavugabutumwa ko baza.
which that means there is hope for the teachers and the evangelists to be
Nubwo
restored.
bari bahari
Even if they were there,
ariko bari munsi ya pasiteri,
but they were always under the pastor.
basengeraga uwo bita mwarimu.
They would pray for a teacher.
nubu bakamwita mwarimu.
They call him a teacher.
Umuntu wese babuza aho bashira bakamugira evangelist.
If they don't know where to place you, they categorize you as an evangelist.
Kugira ngo ugabanye amakerere.
So that you don't bring too much trouble.
Ariko atari uko ufite umuhamagara.
Not because you have that calling.
Ariko kugira ngo tukujere mu rusengero.
Just so that we can manage you in the church.
Tuzabasengera nk'abavuga butumwa.
We'll pray for you as evangelists.
Icyo gihe ukagira amezi w'imyaka 3 ucecetse amahoro akaza mu rusengero.
You spend 3 years quiet with no trouble in the church because you've been prayed for.
Naho ubundi
Normally,
intumwa,
an apostle,
umuhanuzi,
a prophet,
umuvuga butumwa,
an evangelist,
umushumba,
a pastor,
n'umwigisha
and a teacher.
barakorana
They work
kugira
together
ngo barere umubiri wa
so
Kristo.
that they will take care of the body of
Ariko
Christ.
namba umuntu wa mbere mu rusengero,
But the number one person in the
umuntu wa
church,
mbere mu
the
rusengero
number one
ni
person
intumwa.
is the apostle.
Urusengero rero rudafite ibibazo.
They have problems.
Abashumba
Pastors,
ni abashyirwaho n'intumwa ku bw'icyerekezo afite.
they are ordained by the apostle based on his vision.
Donc uko intumwa yagize iyerekwa
Because the apostle gets this
niko
vision,
igenda iplace aho abantu
then he
ishyiramo abantu.
places people appropriately.
Kubera ko rero tugize imyaka
Because it's been a while,
tugira gusa muri mindset umushumba, ibitekerezo byacu ni pasiteri niwe mukuru. Umuntu wese ugiye kwa ngo ndashaka kuba pasiteri, ariko no dufite intumwa ku misozi itandukanye, muri politike, muri business, n'aba missionnaire, intumwa naboherejwe.
It's been a while, and in our minds we have this mindset that the leader of a church should be a pastor. That's not true. Apostles should be the leaders of the church, and all the mountains, be it the mountain of business, be it the mountain of religion, they have to be overseen by apostles.
Rero ubu
Now,
ibintu ko biragenda bitangira gusobanuka gato.
things are becoming clearer.
Igihe ntangiye kuzana ministeri y'intumwa hano,
When I brought the ministry of apostleship
nakiriye
here,
inzandiko zimenasa.
I received messages, I received letters that were menacing me,
Threatening.
were threatening me.
Bamwe bakambwira
Some will tell me,
ngo ntituzemera kuyobya u Rwanda tukirurimo.
they will tell me, do not cause Rwandans to go astray, we will kill you.
Ngo Yesu yasize 12, yasize 13.
Jesus left 13, left 12 apostles, not 13.
Bakibagirwa ko muri Bibiliya hari izindi ntumwa nyinshi, ba Barnaba, ba Paulo, ni benshi cyane.
They forget that the Bible has more apostles, Barnabas, Paul.
Abandi baranyandikira,
Others would write to me
baravuga ngo
saying,
tugiye gufata Zion Temple nka sect.
we are going to take Zion Temple as a sect,
Kana
as a cult.
kuko mwazanye ibyo.
Because you're bringing the issue of
Ariko
apostles.
narabumvaga.
But I would understand
Ni
them.
amateka agize imyaka igihumbi.
It is a history of almost 1,000 years
Bize
that they have been told
tudashobora guhindura mu mwaka.
that we can't easily change.
Ariko bakibagirwa aba Efeso 4:10,
But they forget Ephesians 4:11
aba Efeso 2:20.
or Ephesians 2:20.
Tibabyumva.
They never understood it.
Ariko hari impamvu byakozwe.
But there's a reason it was done.
Simbitinda.
I will not dwell on it.
Niyo mpamvu mubona hari hierarchy hejuru mu madini.
That is why there is that hierarchy in the religions.
Ibyo sinabivugaho naba nteje izindi ntambara.
I don't want to start that.
Kandi maze kuruha n'intambara.
And I'm tired of war.
Ndashaka kubaka.
I want to build now.
Turashaka twubake.
You don't want to
Gusa
trouble
nyuma
anymore.
y'igihe gito
But after a short while,
abandi batangiye gusengera nk'abapotre.
others who are now prayed for and consecrated as
Uyu munsi
apostles.
gusengera nk'abapotre nta na radio ivuga nta na televiziyo ni ibintu bisanzwe byaremewe.
Today, to be prayed of as an apostle, there is no radio, nobody talking and calling you names.
Ariko ikibazo si uko basengerwa nk'abapotre.
The issue is not for them to be prayed of as
Ikibazo ni
apostles.
uko bamenya inyigisho z'intumwa n'izihe.
Is to understand the doctrine of being an apostle, what it means.
Itorero rero niturikora gutyo
So when we do the church that way,
kubakira ku nyigisho z'intumwa n'abahanuzi izakomera. Ni bimwe Antoine na Gahungu babaza ngo ese ngo ni gute itorero rizatera imbere nirimara guhagara kuri izi nkingi z'intumwa zizahindura systeme n'imikorere yose.
when the
Mikorere.
church comes to understand the need for them to be based on the doctrine of apostles and prophets, then the church will prosper and in the right way.
Kuko tuzohereza abantu.
Because we will be able to send out people.
Twarabikoza.
We have done it before.
Saba abantu ngo baze tubasengere.
Then I asked people to come for prayer,
Tubasengere.
that I consecrate them.
Ndababwira sinshaka kubasengera ngo mube abapasiteri ba.
I will not pray for you so you may be the pastors of this church.
muba abapasiteri kuri marketplace hanze,
You come, I pray for you, you become a pastor in the marketplace.
aho ukorera.
Where you work.
Bamwe ntibabyumva
Some didn't understand it,
ariko abandi barabyumva.
but others agreed.
Nuko badidiye basengewe.
That is how
Nuko
Pastor
n'abandi
Didier was
basengewe.
prayed for, and many of you.
Iyo ubwira Didiye ngo azahagarara ku gatuti mwari kubipfa, ariko kumubwira ngo uzaba pasiteri muri media hari yuri byaramunejeje. Kubera iki?
Why?
Usanga iyo mukorera mu mabanke ubuza abantu bagasenga bakakwita pasiteri kandi utariwe. Iyo niyo rero kingdom y'Imana. Muri polisi aho uri ugahuza abantu nturi pasiteri nturi iki, ariko kura influence hariya nibwo bwami bw'Imana. Nizo nyigisho z'intumwa n'abahanuzi.